outnumbered over time. OT, baby!
OT.
President Trump, King Abdullah of Jordan, what do you think will come about after their meeting? I mean, we're going to know in the news conference, but what do you hope that's going on right now?
Well, I think that, you know, one of the good things about people like DOD Secretary Jim Mattis is that, you know, he's somebody that cares a lot about strategy, and he brings to the table a big picture view of how to approach these problems. And I think that, you know, the past administration, the only big picture seemed to be how do we get Iran to deal, you know, to go along with this nuclear deal, which I don't think was a very good deal. I think that doing a larger strategy.
You're not alone in that.
Who does? I was just going to say, does anybody at this point think that was a good deal?
Still think they would
President Obama does.
Ben Rhodes, those guys, they defend it to the hilt.
This day?
But I do think that you can't, as somebody pointed out, you simply can't come up with, you can't deal with the situation without input from King Abdullah.
What do you guys think about the news that Steve Bannon now is going to be booted from the National Security Council, and that the president is looking at reorganizing that? There was a lot of controversy about pulling someone who wasn't even a politician, but certainly somebody who did not have a background in national security. I do want to say that Steve Bannon, though, had a rich history in the military. He was with the Navy, so he's not without some scope and understanding of national security issues, but he's now being booted from that National Security Council.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't love the pick when it originally happened, and I don't know Steve Bannon, but I think when...
What bothered you?
Because I think we should put people in roles in the White House who have spent their life dedicated to a very specific issue. My concerns and anxieties about the Trump administration continue to be, it's not that I don't think Jared Kushner is probably a smart, capable man who clearly has a very successful real estate business, but that's not really the same thing as dedicating your life to figuring out peace in the Middle East and completely understanding the nuance, by the way, that has happened way before he was born in the history of Israel. So I always like experts being experts in their field as a general consensus, and Steve Bannon ran a website. If he were truly dedicated to national security in the way that, you know, I guess President Trump thought he would, I think he would have gone into that industry instead of running a website.
Facebook Live, anything? Any bubbles? I love seeing the bubbles when you watch us on Facebook Live. It's Outnumbered FNC if you guys want to toggle between that and our live page.
I just think I think the news today is just, for me, it's those pictures that are coming out of Syria. It's just clouding my every thought.
Do you think that played any kind of a role in the decision to realign or reorganize the National Security Council? I mean, the president's foreign policy is on full display. He's taking some criticism. We talked about it during our hour on television about how do you continue to prop up a guy like Bashar al-Assad, whether you're physically propping or just turning a blind eye.
Yeah. No, I mean, clearly, I mean, those images are just stunning and they're shocking and they're enraging. But you know, I go back to what I said earlier, which is that, I want something to be done. I want this to be stopped. But I also I hate it when politicians take advantage of these situations where we have pictures like this, and they go out there and they pound the podium and say we got to do something, and then they get halfway through, or even worse, they send our boys halfway through hell, and then they say, okay, well, never mind, we don't really. I didn't really mean all that.
And as horrible as the images we're seeing in the past 24 hours are, they're not entirely new. You know, we saw images last summer of 2013, and of babies being washed ashore, and I mean, it's just
we've seen it for 5 years.
We've seen it for a long time out here, so that's what I guess a little bit makes me skeptical around how
the chemical weapons, though, continuing to lose chemical weapons is a new.
I thought Secretary John Kerry, though, oversaw the removal in Assad's regime of chemical weapons. Remember that video we had? They took them out.
One of those.
So what happened? Did they creep back in, or did somebody not do their job?
They drew the red line and then showed the entire world that we were feckless and didn't care.
But he went there for that purpose.
The Obama, when people ask me why I have such an anger towards the Obama administration, there's a lot of things I can let go because, quite frankly, there's a lot of things on my priority list that don't hit a top 10. Foreign policy-wise is why forever I will have such an anger and resentment towards President Obama, because I think not only he was naive, but he made everything in the Middle East exponentially worse. And when I said on air that I do believe this is this generation's Holocaust, I'm not saying this to be glib or to be dramatic. I truly believe it is hitting that level. And if history is any indicator, if we sit here and ignore this in one way or another, at a certain point, have no doubt it will reach its way to the United States in one faction or another.
So you've got the president who wants to put pressure on China because China's leader is coming to the White House, so that he can effectively redirect what's happening in a nuclear North Korea. Why not do the same thing with Russia? Why not do the same thing with Iran, since we have that deal with regard to Syria?
Well, I think that, you know, one of the things that Donald Trump during the campaign focused on was this notion that that Putin was going after ISIS, just like we're going after ISIS, and you know, he could be an ally.
Side eye.
But when you look at a place like Syria, it's obvious that it's not that neat and clean, and you know, it makes you kind of wonder if seeing some of these images and learning some of this stuff doesn't make the administration changes its approach to all that.
This stuff it's not clean. That's the issue. It's not clean. It's not as simple as these are our friends and this is fighting ISIS alongside us.
So does that keep us from trying?
Yeah, no, it doesn't at all. But I think, to Charlie's point, you got to think longer and deeper about it, because this kind of, you know, I don't know where President then candidate Trump was talking about acting as if this isn't our issue, we don't need to be involved at all, and in aligning ourselves with Russia on it, I mean, come on.
Rex Tillerson's statement in particular, I mean, really angered me. And really, the idea that if you're a Syrian who's being chemically gassed, that you somehow can have control over your future in any context or another, not only do I think it's naive, I think it's dangerous and very arrogant. And I expected more from him, because everyone keeps telling me that even though he's a businessman, that he understands diplomacy and he understands international incidents as best as everyone. And I'm telling you, as every day goes by, I am fearful that President Trump's foreign policy will be very similar to President Obama's. And look where we are right now. The Middle East is on fire.
Yeah,
I mean,
literally.
he just commented on that in the Oval Office on his policy in Syria. Said, you'll see. I don't know if that really indicates one thing or another.
Yeah.
That leaves it pretty open-ended.
You know what, I want to get to something, Sandra. I don't know if you saw this on the live chat, which is cooking along quite nicely today. From R. Tinson 1, I think that's how you say your name. Bannon is off the NSC, National Security Council. Probably not a bad idea, since it creates controversy and shows trust and respect for General McMaster's, which is interesting.
He's just a controversial guy, Steve Bannon. He invokes very intense reactions from both sides.
But does that mean the president might be listening more to someone like a General McMaster's? Well, he's got to listen to somebody, right?
I mean, do you think that indicates that?
Well, certainly, you know, Steve Bannon is a big political mind, and he has been sort of a political Svengali for the president, and you know,
wow, that doesn't sound positive.
Well, why not? I mean, it won the election.
Bengali.
But it does make me kind of wonder if maybe the administration isn't trying to sort of make that position, those positions, less political, so that they can go after more forcefully Susan Rice and prosecute that case. And I hope that they do that, because, I mean, how Republicans are managing to lose the argument right now over are there Russian connections versus a presidential administration spying on political opponents. I don't know how they
Well, it is amazing in a week where he has chosen to have, he yesterday had a huge day on the economy, meetings on the manufacturing sector, met with CEOs.
And incredible news.
Met with trade executives.
More news this morning.
Yeah. So look at the Dow, it's up 164 points. It's so clear that's his strength. You know, and what a contrast today is compared to
But that was
so far.
That's what he got elected for, was the belief, and I share this belief, that a lot of these issues, they're not that complicated. Politicians tend to complicate everything, usually by trying to figure out how to turn it to their own personal advantage. But it's not that complicated, and you would think that a common sense business guy could carry out, you know.
But the Middle East is complicated. The Middle East is very, very complicated, and you know, I didn't realize how complicated until I was over there last winter, and this is the problem, and I don't want this to be the case, Meg, but we talk about your disappointments, frustrations, and resentments about the Obama administration. Although I don't share them, I respect and understand where you're coming from. My concern around the Trump administration is somebody who believes in his ability to be effective on the business end, Sandra, and believes even in his ability to maybe shake up Washington. This notion, though, of interests, of interest. So when you talk about Tillerson, that's what I'm concerned about, the interests that are at play and that overriding the decision-making around foreign policy.
But there are...
That scares me to death.
Can I get one thing in from Facebook Live? And it's Carol Berkeley who says, I hate what happened in Syria. However, we can't keep on policing the entire world. Best offense is...
Well, it's good that she was born an American, not a Syrian, then.
Yeah. All right, we got to leave it there.
All right, everybody, we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks, Charlie.
Thank you.